everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Bought a Mic, a podcast about the best of 2025. So far, it's June. It's late June. It's the middle of the year. So it's time for a mid-year check-in, a mid-year draft of our favorite movies, TV shows, albums, TikToks.
If it's pop culture, it counts.
Yeah.
Hudda crash outs.
Chess.com.
Favorite bots
Favorite
on the
bots.
chess.com app.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Blunder Brothers. They're my favorite.
Are you going to draft your epic putt that you made on your birthday?
Yeah.
Is that eligible?
Yeah, real life sports events, that counts. You do.
Other day I hit a 7-iron like 160 yards to 8 feet from line.
Eligible.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome. My name's Ernest.
My name's Hunter.
My name's Danny.
And I'm Vessel.
Which is not a Coheed reference.
You would.
I
Not
just
Coheed,
learned.
and it's not new car seat headrest either.
Oh,
which it very
damn.
much could be. I'll level with
I
you there,
wish.
Hunter.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Cursey will come up
yeah,
at some point in time.
I'm Drew, and I think it's very appropriate that this is a mid-year check-in because this has been a mid-year
Ooh.
in many ways so far, pop
I
culture
don't know.
wise.
There's things that are coming to save it.
Oh yeah, I mean we're just like days away from multiple albums that I wish I could just draft like
Right.
sight unseen.
Clips?
Yeah, can clips just can I
Yeah,
just take it?
exactly. Even though like lead single, awesome song, I love it. I'm a little worried about Malice starting the song. Yellow diamonds look like pee-pee.
Wait, should we have waited to do this? Because that would technically be in the first half of the
Look,
year.
no, here's the thing is that even
Does that come
like
out tomorrow?
by comparison
Like literally,
to-
yeah, I think so.
Oh, fuck.
Here's the
All right, whatever. We're already doing
extend
it.
this. If
This
we
is
do this
the
for
problem.
4 hours, like, we could technically.
We'll pause the pod,
Yeah.
listen to it, and then we'll like
Hear me
pick a
out.
point to see who gets this.
We usually do this in July, I
No,
think.
well, here's the thing: is that we still are going to be publishing our mid-year check-in later than every other publication because there's
Oh,
always
yeah.
a mad dash
They
race
do it in like
of
May.
like Guardian is just like mid-year check-in. It's like it is the second week of April. What are we doing right now?
Yeah, so this is I don't know, the third or fourth time we've done this, Danny. Welcome back. Always a pleasure. Brought some sad Bonnaroo leftovers.
Yeah.
We're drinking it with a heartened spirit, a stoic resilience to the spirit of the farm.
To the
Jesus
farm, baby.
Christ.
What if they're just like, guys, good news. We're bringing back the farm again. All of you guys, don't worry. We won't refund you. Instead, we'll just pass along tickets. Sleep Token is playing 3 nights in a row. And you have to go.
The residency is now Sleep Token.
Yeah, they were like King Gizzard and Sleep Token. They're basically the same. band.
They're doing a super jam.
Oh no.
What the fuck is up, Bonnaroo? My name's Vessel.
Holy shit. So if this is your first mid-year draft, what we do here is it's a grab bag. It's a loose draft, no set categories, just kind of an open field to check in on our favorite stuff of the year, media, entertainment, art. I will not call it content. Maybe after like 4 of these, I'll call it content.
Content. The C word's gonna get said at some point.
Yeah. Because we're content
Mhm.
with our picks. So it's movies, it's shows, it's albums, it's games, whatever you want to throw at it. I think last year, I think it was you, Danny, you drafted the Kendrick Drake beef.
Yeah.
So things like that, that's all eligible. So what we're going to do is we're going to draft our 25 favorite things of 2025 so far. So that's 6 rounds because it's 4 of us. That's 24. And then 1 shared item to complete the 25. Speaking of Kendrick, we decided before we hit record that our shared item is the Super Bowl halftime show. Any thoughts that we can recall of the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah,
I will say-
big pants.
Yeah.
He did have big pants.
Samuel L. as Uncle Sam.
I think that one of the biggest like notches in the belt of this halftime show in particular is in the months after the Super Bowl. I have gone back and watched this performance several times. It got put on Spotify, and I have listened to the performance multiple times.
Official upload?
yeah.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
And I can't say that I've ever done that before. Honestly, the closest that I can remember as far as just a incredible show during the halftime of the Super Bowl was probably The Weeknd's.
Ooh, very good.
The Weeknd's
Yeah.
very excellent production. Honestly, kind of similar in to Kendrick's in that it was telling a story more than it's just like, I'm just going to come out and play like my 7 biggest songs. Kendrick zagged. He did not play like a lot of the songs that people were expecting him to play, some of his biggest notable hits. If you're looking on the Spotify most plays,
White people were mad.
Yeah, big
a lot of people were mad. My mom wasn't mad, but my mom was confused. My mom said he talked too fast and I didn't understand what he was saying, but it looked really cool. So
Good for him.
shout out to Jen. At least she was a pro. I guess as pro as you can be.
There was that
That's great.
meme of Kendrick looking straight into the camera.
Say Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Peekaboo.
Serena Williams.
Serena,
Yes.
Yeah, big moment.
Serena crip walking is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Lovely time. Yeah, I'm glad that he had, it felt like a victory lap, you
The
know?
whole stadium saying A minor.
Right.
Yeah.
Facts.
Great.
Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spin the wheel, the lovely wheel, to determine our draft order.
Just curious, because before we get super into it, you guys have both alluded to it real quick. This year is a little bit it is a little bit
Mid?
it's a little mid. Well, I think that there have been some highs in certain things. Like we'll talk about, I'm sure especially you will, Ernie, make the pitch for TV. TV has kind of won the year so far. And I say that as a person who has
By
not even
far,
seen,
I think.
who I have not even, I started watching The Pitt, but I haven't even finished The Pitt. I have not watched Andor season 2, like some of the big ones. Even still, what I have seen, incredible TV state. Movies, very thin
Slim
at the
pickings,
top. I would
yeah.
say it's got a couple up at the top, and then a lot of like personal preference. Music, I think, is all the fuck over the place. Like last year was a collection of albums that I loved, but
Yeah,
this year's
no
just like
heavy
a lot of
hitters.
likes. Maybe I will say one album that I think is close to perfect, but I think that otherwise, this is going to be a pick your own poison, a choose your own adventure draft.
I don't think it's a bad year for music. I think it's just a lot of stuff that I enjoy listening to, but it hasn't really swept me off my feet, you know?
It's likes, not love.
There's a lot of like 4 to 8 range, like in your top 10 picks.
A lot
Like,
of
there's-
stuff that I think would be like a cool hit pick to have like 7 through 10 even,
Yeah.
but it's like, that's number 4 right now.
There's a few that have made it to like my favorites so far, but it might be just because it's slim pickings.
Mhm.
But I've enjoyed it. It looks like a mid-year, but I think when we look back on it, we're gonna see that there's gonna be a lot of classics in
Mhm.
here that like really,
Some sleepers.
yeah, something
Yeah.
that like I think like especially the top end of our draft, there's gonna be things that like really, had a chokehold on us.
I wrote down 27 albums
Okay.
to prep for this. So it's not like there's nothing. It's just that it's a lot of stuff that,
You like,
I don't feel super strong about,
Mhm.
but it's stuff that, I enjoy.
Spin the wheel.
All right, let's get into it.
I don't want the number 1 pick. I will say that much.
You had the number 1 pick last year, I believe.
Did I?
So will
think
you
that was
relinquish?
So we'll do whoever gets selected. We'll do snake order and we'll just go clockwise.
True.
Number 1, huh?
Number 1.
Which direction?
Should I
are we
spin
going?
it again to see which
Just see,
direction?
yeah, just see which direction
Oh
we go.
wow.
So who got
I
first?
don't want
Drew.
us to go out of order.
Okay.
We're drinking Woodford Reserve today, so we're gonna skip somebody if we go.
Hunter. So
Okay,
So
so I'll be third.
going this
could
way,
go-
and then I'm last.
it could
So
technically go the
Oh
other way.
shit!
too.
Yeah, you're right. God damn it!
Yeah.
It's right in the
He's
middle.
literally in the middle.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is really tough.
Well, we could just do clockwise. Just go clockwise.
clockwise, which
Got
is
it,
to
Drew?
me
Yeah.
or to you?
To this way.
Okay, you're clockwise. Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's going your way, Danny.
Fire it up.
Okay.
First pick.
This is really tough. I could go strategically. There are certain categories of thing that I'm just way more limited in, and
I mean, there's one that you said right before when we were deciding the order, or not the order, the collective pick that you specifically didn't want it to be the collective pick, so you could have it.
Yeah, first pick is definitely not good here because they're like on the top end. There's just like I think a handful of things that we all
Yeah, this
like.
first round is about to be a fucking gauntlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go with your.
I think like
Go with your heart.
most of my list is going to be gone like when it gets back to me.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be. This is gonna
You
be
can
really
draft
tough.
Love
definitely
Island
taking-
characters.
I'm taking something from you.
I'm taking the rehearsal season 2.
Oh,
Nice. All right. All right.
It's arguably it's not even the best season of TV I've seen this year. But I think like the heights of it are like really like weirdly like important comedy. Like it's like it's weighty and insane and like groundbreaking. It's one of the most original things I've ever seen. It's so like auteur. It could only come from the brain of one person. And yeah, like I
A very special person.
I don't know where the show goes from here, but I think this stands alone as like a really singular piece of art, more than anything else I could think of listed.
did it do well, like in terms of like the masses? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
man.
know
I saw a lot of people. There's so many TikToks.
Way more
about
than
it.
yeah, way better than season 1 in terms of reaching people, because they didn't like greenlight the show with the aim of reaching the masses anyway.
Right.
Like they didn't think that was
If you
gonna
look at
happen.
ratings, the ratings don't look great, but the internet presence and the critical response is very, very
Yeah.
Okay.
He was on
positive.
CNN.
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was funny.
yeah, like they'll let him keep cooking.
I want him to keep cooking, and because I love the season too. And it was just like there's so many, like it's not just the overarching story of like the pilot. It's more so like all the little like small stories where Nathan might have autism, you know, and he's
Oh,
just like
maybe.
dodging an autism diagnosis so he can fly a plane, like
Yeah.
shit like that. Like, it's just
The
like
miracle over the Mojave, dude.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. I love this season. The chokehold it had over our entire friendship, like all of us just constantly talking about it. I never laughed so hard than I did in episode 3.
Exactly.
When he's dressed like a baby, when he's
Getting milk boarded is
when he's milk boarded, he's coughing up breast milk. I could not.
Yeah, it's just it's something else. It's something different. It's rare that someone starts from such a solid place like he did. Like I go back like probably a couple times a year and watch old segments from This Hour Has 22 Minutes, the Canadian show that he was on, which was like basically the Daily Show, and he was a correspondent. And he started off like really good at what he was doing and doing something pretty similar to what he did on Nathan For You. Goes on to Nathan For You, which is, I think, pound for pound, it's like, I think it's the funniest show I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it probably will continue to be, because that's not the only aim of this show. But like to get like so out there and existential and like high concept, high stakes, and maintain like the core of like what you are as a comedian and your identity. It's so, I never ever would have expected like him to veer this way. Like it's just so, there's no focus group telling him to do this. You know what I mean? It's just a guy with ideas. So I
Really
really
let him do it.
Yeah, so I
Props
really
to
really
HBO.
respect that.
The Nazi Paramount soldiers,
Yeah.
like, come on, man.
unreal.
So good.
The Rehearsal season 2. #1 pick, Drew. Very nice. Danny, I think we know where you're
It was
gonna
gonna
go
be
here.
gone.
Yeah.
I had to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
Go.
It's
Say
tou-
it.
it's tough because like there's something I consumed a lot more that I think you guys are going to talk about. It sneaks back.
Yeah.
I might take it right here though.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna have to go. I'm going friendship.
Yep. Had
Yeah.
to do it.
I had to.
That toad ripped me off.
It's get ready to see God. Like God, it's so good, and I think it's tough for me to pick it so early because I haven't been able to watch it a second time yet, and I think I'm gonna quote it as much as I do Step Brothers. Like if you give me a couple years. Because it was just an insanely good movie. Like even the storyline, which this movie had no business actually having a good storyline, you know? Like the whole best friend thing, the guy who just feels like completely out of the circle, but still says the funniest fucking shit. Like,
Nobody
thinking
else
about
think
your
he's saying the
busty daughter.
funniest shit.
and I think another thing that really made me enjoy this movie is that like, well, you asked me to watch it with you.
Yeah,
And-
dude.
and I
we
think-
all went out together.
I think the element of like watching it with a group of people that all love Tim Robinson.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
really important. It
Yeah.
also, the reason he asked you to do that is because he was trying to give you a hint that like you're our Tim. And we,
Yeah.
like, we want you out.
Yeah.
no Marvel spoilers in the podcast
Yeah.
studio.
I heard it's nuts.
Get the fuck
Our
out.
people are
Oh, you should
actually
know
going insane.
that. I had an orgasm in the sewer.
I'm glad that you mentioned Step Brothers specifically, because that was kind of thing. I saw this movie, laughed the hardest that I can ever remember laughing in a theater, but then it was a thing coming out of it where I was like, don't really know everything about like the plot, how it was like you're still watching a movie, so you're trying to like your movie, like just the way that we are trained to watch things, you're trying to like try and think about like what's happening in the grand scheme of this characters. I think this is so much more of like closer to a throwback to like a Step Brothers, where it's like, what the fuck is the plot of Step Brothers? The Catalina wine mixer?
Yeah,
like what
exactly.
are yeah, like that's not anything. Like it's
Yeah.
all about vibes, it's all about the jokes. And to that point, this is one of the funniest movies I've seen, maybe ever.
I was so happy.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
glad
like
it was
it's
good.
stupid funny. It's I genuinely I almost took it at number 1 overall because it's just like
It's worthy.
yeah, it's just really rare that you see a movie where you're immediately like, oh, this isn't like a slow burn of like, oh, after a few times it'll be one of my favorites. Like it's just immediately one of my favorite movies. And I was kind of not expecting it to meet my expectations because I was expecting like so much, you
Yeah.
know, and like the question mark was Andrew DeYoung, and he did so well. Like
Killed
it's well directed and it's really, really well written and well suited for the star. So he did everything perfectly.
I can see the future.
Chair Company's coming.
It's full of
Chair-
pals.
Chair Company will be draft eligible for our end of year draft.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We could have double Tim on our hands.
Yeah, we don't do a draft at the end. It's
Or
We just
not
pick-
draft.
we just pick
but
things.
I guess well it's
Listomania.
like a shared draft. Like what if
right now. I'm trying to beat you.
you know the NBA
I'm
draft is
trying
happening
to
right now.
own you.
What if like the Phoenix Suns are like, you know what? I'll also have Cooper Flag. We'll have like full-time quarterback, but he'll just be this guy.
It just keeps going around. They're like, yeah, I had flag too. All right, we'll circle back. Next person.
It's like a Harper pick, and then the next day it's like, no, I'm gonna take Flag too. It comes back to them and they're like, can I get 2 flags? Can I
Yeah.
get like
One guy's like Hanson Yang. Everyone's like, all right, you got him.
yeah. Anybody contesting that? No? Okay, nope, it's all you.
Congrats, Portland.
Good job.
Friendship is Danny's
Number
first
one.
pick.
Yeah.
Nice, Hunter. You're up first pick of, or your first round pick.
Yeah, go
For
for
sure.
it. Let's hear it.
Here's the thing. This would have been my number 1 overall pick. This is the only movie that I gave a full-throated 5 stars to coming out of the theater. I think it is the movie that's going to define this year, and that's Sinners.
Banger.
So this movie, we did a whole pod on it. I just was like thinking back, coming here today, whenever we were doing our anticipation draft, and Ernie, to your defense, you were the one who was the most excited for Sinners out of everybody. I think that's the Black Panther of Ryan Coogler's career almost made me like forget about him a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, and also just you know when a director comes out of Marvel like slop hell, like their first thing after that is not. There's not an amazing
sometimes they have
track
good
record.
times, but yeah, a lot of times it's a little bit of like, oh, I gotta get my footing back. There was so much like hubbub around this movie, and it's like just pretty phenomenal in every way. Danny, I know you have not seen Sinners yet,
Mhm.
right?
Gotta see it.
You have to see it. I think that it
Yeah,
is
that's
like
on there.
it is.
It's so
It's a
cool.
masterpiece.
It's coming to Max on July 4th.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Great,
There you
great
go.
choice to include it on the 4th of
Independence
July.
Day.
It has so much profound, so many profound messages to say about just Black experience in America and
Jim Crow era specifically. I
yeah,
think pre-civil rights America, the music industry, the history of the blues.
Yes,
Just like
the religion,
Black America's contribution to American music.
how religion and music are like deeply infused with each
Mhm.
other, both like for good and for like rock and roll is
Yeah.
the devil's music kind of stuff.
How there's something inherently wrong with the Irish.
Yeah.
We shouldn't trust
Yeah,
them at
vibes
all.
are off.
Yeah.
Also, it's a fucking gnarly, bloody vampire.
Yeah, it's
movie.
also that's the thing is like it has all these themes. It's also just like a fucking blast, man. It is so much goddamn fun. It's just
It's really horny. It's like probably the horniest blockbuster of the last 10, 15 years.
Most
easily.
most pussy eating I think I've seen
in a major motion picture.
Yeah, and like a good movie.
Guy and I refer back to Haley Steinfeld spitting in Michael B. Jordan's mouth like once a week.
And to me, that is cinema.
And specifically like that context, and then imagining like the Homelander meme of Josh Allen watching the movie and just like he has to see his girl just, and it's like, oh man, they got something going on here. Michael B. Jordan, phenomenal. Like the Oscar campaign is fully in, like the train is off and it is moving.
Yeah,
and
this movie is headed for like a 10 nom Oscar morning minimum.
I mean,
what the fuck else is there?
Who has it in the fantasy draft?
Kaya.
Of course.
Yeah, we all were like, how much is it really gonna do? Awards, everything like that, and then this Top Gun Maverick all over again. So yeah, that's Sinners.
Oh, do you think? That's in the cards, definitely.
I don't know if it'll like.
That was a lot. That was a lot of points for her.
I don't know if it'll.
Top Gun.
It's not going to end up making as much money, obviously.
And I mean, this has been a really top heavy year, but it's not going to be as limited as what was that 22 with Maverick, where it was like
there was
movies were still just like not coming out yet.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard pressed for a blockbuster to be this critically acclaimed. Like that's the reason why I think at this point it is a lock for Best Picture nomination, is because I don't know that there's going to be another like critically beloved movie that's making $400 million.
All right, so
Eddington,
when I was Elio,
it's a slow burn. It's just like Elemental.
When I was prepping for this episode, I kind of split up my prep list into things to prioritize.
Yeah.
The top 3 just got taken off that list.
Yep.
Of course.
So
but now you get 2 back to back.
I know.
And you can pick some heaters.
You can do some damage here.
And I think I'm going to do just that.
Yeah, go.
I think to your point, Hunter, about the year in TV being by far the strongest of any of the other mediums, I think I have to go with 2 TV shows here.
Go for it.
And they're going to be
what is the order you're going to pick here? Because I feel like that informs what your favorite show of the year is.
I mean, I'm looking at like 5 shows here that I could take. And I just have to pick 2. I'm gonna take what I think is the best show of the year, and that's The Pitt.
I almost took it number 1 overall.
Drew grimaced.
Even though like you're the only other person that could take it. It's the best. It's better than the Rehearsal. Like it's the best show I've seen in years.
Yeah.
It's like a generational show. It's so good.
I'm so blown away by The Pitt.
Yeah. We haven't done a proper episode of the pod on it yet. And
we're gonna have to once Hunter sees it.
It's like stupid how good the show is.
Yeah, I was very hesitant on it because, you know, it's a medical show. I don't know how much in the mood I was for a medical show, especially since like going through cancer and chemo and knowing that this show, I knew how gnarly it was going to be. Like I knew that it wasn't going to be like a Grey's Anatomy, just like happy fun time show.
Yeah, it's not fun procedural.
So I waited. I didn't watch it as it was airing at the beginning of the year. I waited for the whole thing to be out, and then people like just wouldn't shut up about it. It just kept brewing and brewing, and it became one of those things that like never really went away. So I finally sat down and was like, all right, let's fucking watch this thing. Lee and I watched it together, and you know, you start watching this thing, it's 15 episodes. It's all in real time. It's the 24 approach.
Yeah.
Where
so thank you, Kiefer Sutherland, for laying the foundation.
It's 15 hours of one day on shift at Pittsburgh Medical.
Yeah, which that in the discourse, that piece is not included most of the time when people talk about it, because there's plenty to talk about. The other big showstopper is just how like hyper realistic all the medical stuff is, obviously. But that piece of it is like what makes it so special.
Yeah, the real time thing.
Yeah, it's not just a gimmick.
He doesn't pee until the 3rd episode.
Yeah, well, it also makes it super bingeable. Yeah, like you're picking up the second you left off.
Right, exactly.
Every single episode. It's all so insanely connected. You're circling, you know, you're basically doing rounds with these doctors, and so like you'll be circling back to like patients that you remember from 3 hours ago, and you're like, oh fuck yeah, that guy's oh shit,
because they're still there.
He's coding now. Fuck,
people are at the ER for way longer than a single hour, so you're not just like doing this episode, little 1 episode arc, and then never returning to those characters.
Exactly. And so but it's also based, it's not hyper real in a lot of ways. Like it has time for like dramatic storyline. It's not just, it's not trying to give you like verite, like documentary all the time. But whenever things get very medical, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like it goes full no nonsense, like zero discussion and just straight up medical talk for like minutes at a time.
And you buy it. I mean,
it's real.
The balance of tone is, I think, the thing that has really blown me away the most. The fact that this show can be the hyper realistic, bloody medical shit and like the kind of cutesy, dramatic, like funny workplace show, and it's perfectly melded together.
It's crazy.
And it just pivots within those two tones seamlessly. You don't feel it at all.
One is, I mean, and it's natural because that's like how it goes there is you'll be like, shooting the shit with your coworker and then someone starts dying.
Yeah.
You're like, oh fuck. All right. Got to go deal with that really quick.
How many cuts to the phrase "how to save a life" have there been?
0.
There's
almost no music.
It's funny because like, so our generation grew up with like those like really heightened medical procedurals like Grey's Anatomy, which are like lean way more into the drama side.
House. My
Scrubs.
parents watched the
Or
shit out.
Scrubs, which is the comedic version.
Yeah, when the like the basis of this show is ER, which was like an insanely huge
Shout out to Homeboy.
phenomenon that lasted like multiple decades, just a little bit before our time. But like that's the source of the Clune Bag and another, a slew of like giant actors.
Well, we got to say it. Noah Weil.
Yeah, so that's the other biggest pieces. I've never seen someone who was like so objectively the best actor of the year, like
By far.
like
I think.
and it's like to the level of like if he doesn't win, then whoever does win, I'm not watching their shit. Like it's absolutely insane how good he is at this because he
carries this thing on his back.
he much like a doctor who rises to this level of like floor manager at the ER. He did that on the show ER for so many years that he's so ready for this. It's so second nature to him that you're like, I can't believe this is an actor. Like it's so phenomenal. There are so many unbelievable performances across
everybody.
The board. Yeah.
No weak link.
I got hung up. I think there are a couple. I got hung up on the boy who looks like the Puffs Plus commercial, little
The
like
Welsh
doe-eyed boy, just because he's so clearly not American and he's supposed to be from Nebraska.
I would call him a weak link.
Me.
I would just say that he doesn't feel as believable, but I still like watching him.
Yeah, and then the other one is I forgot her name, but it's like Dr. Mohan or something. Yeah, I don't think that's a very good actress. But it's
the other cool thing, and I don't want to go into too many details about the season, but just so people know, like some of the things we really liked about it, there's a part of the cast of characters that it's these young doctors on their first day at work.
Yeah, it's like Scrubs. It's
residence.
It's a teaching hospital.
It's a residency.
Yeah, that's the best way to make anything about a hospital because
so
you
day,
automatically have to explain things to everybody.
For this day to be their first day is
that's the thing is things in addition to just like the nonstop anxiety of all these so many plot lines happening at once, things heighten in a way that like you don't
ramp up.
You don't think that this show would like do. You don't think that they would like
go there.
They don't. You don't think they would accelerate the intensity as hard as they do.
But you buy it,
and it goes so crazy. Like toward the end of the season, it's like, oh my fucking god.
Yeah,
it's absolutely mind blowing how good the show is. It's my number one show of the year. I took the rehearsal just because I couldn't stand not to have it, but this is the best show of the year.
It's mind blowing. I love like the use of space, the geography of this floor, and
it makes
the
sense.
Way it's used.
It makes perfect sense when it needs to, and also it's disorienting when it needs to be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It works so well.
There's a lot of like thematic layers of their movement around the space and where things happen and how these characters connect to this space and flashbacks that they have and critical events that happen in certain rooms in certain places.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the best thing about it to me is that it doesn't shy away from critical issues in the healthcare industry.
Oh, I mean,
right now.
It's not that it doesn't. It leans into it. Like it's like about that practically. Like the show very clearly is like making statements on like
The
how
state of
broken the
healthcare
healthcare
in
system
America.
is. Yeah, and how
Yeah.
fucked up it all is. They're trying to do that. Like it works really well, and it doesn't feel forced. The only other, if I'm like forced to think of a negative, the only other thing is I think that maybe one too many times a good speech from a doctor like works on the patient. You know what I mean? It makes them change their mind in a way that, like, in real life, it's like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
people are too stupid. There's no great speech that convinces anyone of anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just not, it's, I call it like the West Wingification,
Right.
you know, like the Sorkin theory of like,
Yeah.
if I write something so fuego,
change the
it'll
world.
make a bigot into like a cool person. And it's like, that's unfortunately, no.
Yeah. But there's times where like someone's in the middle of a speech and then it's like, oh, got to get to work. You know, people are working, you know, this is not a Severance situation where like no one's working. They're on the clock here and you love to see it.
I will say, like, this is just I've only seen the first episode of the show. Really loved what I saw. I just haven't had a chance to finish up more of it. But this show has had a word of mouth effect to it, unlike anything that I can remember. Because I remember whenever it came on, like pretty early in the year, like January, February, like pretty early on.
It felt like a post-strike thing, like, oh, they're doing a hospital.
Yeah, and it
show.
was like, oh, the show's like actually really good though.
Yeah.
And then like it kept buzzing. And then I don't know what happened, but I was at a wedding last weekend and there
the
was
Pitt.
2 shows that just kept getting talked about. It was the Pitt and still carryover from last year, Landman.
Wow.
Landman still holding strong.
Landman
People were
heads.
like,
And that's
hey.
your next pick?
Yeah, and a guy was just like, you know, I actually resubscribed to Paramount Plus so I could watch Landman again. That's a real story that I got from an old man.
Incredible.
And I was just like, tell me about it.
The real heads love
Yeah.
Bobby. All right, so I would love to talk in detail about.
I know.
The Pitt.
That's the thing. I have so
Well-
many thoughts that I just have been sitting on, and it's such a fucking show. It could have come out any year in the last 25 years. It feels very old school HBO, but it has all these modern elements. But like, it starts with just like black screen Times New Roman font on it, basically. Like, it's such a instant classic. It rocks.
My next pick, I think, is the show that had the belt until we got this like deluge of TV in the last month or so, and that's The Studio on Apple TV
son of a
Plus.
bitch.
What a beast.
Take fucking Andor, you bitch. I know that's watch your silly little Star Wars show.
Oh,
A show
Whoa.
I had a chance to watch all episodes early, so I was just kind of sitting on them while everyone else caught up, and I was just waiting for everyone to see it because it's so good, especially
Mhm.
that last run of like 2 or 3 episodes. I think are just some of the best TV I've seen this year. Bryan Cranston is a fucking god.
Incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, comedic genius. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg deserve like so much kudos, so much props for what they pulled off here.
they're gonna get it.
I think
Like,
this
they're
is
getting it.
It's a
this is
home
gonna
run.
win best comedy for like many reasons. One, because it's like a show about itself, about Hollywood and everything.
It's
and
just
awards and
hilarious.
stuff
It's
that,
like,
but-
what if Curb Your Enthusiasm was just about studio executives?
But here's the thing: is that I think that the genius through line that this show walks is that you can watch this and be like a fucking nerd about movies and TV,
Yeah.
the industry itself,
Get all
and
the
like
little
love it.
things.
You also can watch this as just like
A normie.
just a casual normie and laugh like just as hard
See,
as
so
anybody else.
that's why I was so terrified when I watched the first episode, and I was like, I like this. I'm scared to tell you guys that I like it because, like, I feel like it's slop and I don't know it. You know?
No.
No,
I know, but
Not
like that's
slop.
what I feared. And then when I was like, I like the studio, you're like, dude, it's excellent. I was like, whoa, wait, do I like good cinema?
It's great. I mean, I think that, when this show was announced, I just dismissed it because it just looked like, oh my God, here we go. Some navel gazing bullshit about
Mhm.
Hollywood. Like, it's just going to be a bunch of like,
Also, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, to our defense, have been like, a little bit of a down slump. Moose barking at something. Like, I personally liked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from like 2 years ago, but also that was like an animated movie, like a kids movie. Like, what have they really done? Like, are we talking about like an American Pickle? Like, come on. Like, I
it's
feel
been
like
a while.
Future
since-
Man.
Okay. Yeah.
okay. What year was that? Was that
Something Futterman,
2017 or
right?
something?
Right?
It feels like it was a million years ago.
I can't believe I remember that.
Hutcherson, baby.
I
I mean,
will-
they've been producing a lot, like a ton
Yeah.
of shit. They just if they're not like in it, you don't know.
It's well,
'Cause
I
they're
mean,
in a lot. They're in most of it, you know.
They produced like Sausage Party 2.0 or whatever the show was that
Let's go.
I think we did like a teaser freezer for on the pod. I don't know. I will say to the studio, like the knock against it is that there is a little bit of a lull like in the middle-ish part of the series. But I think it's whenever we get to the pediatric oncologist episode, I think that like we are off from there. Like it is all
we get
where
casting.
the whole premise
Golden
of
Globes.
that episode is that pediatric cancer, like treating children's cancer and being a studio head are the same level of importance to society, which is just an incredible bit. It's like obviously wrong in every way, but also there was a lot of like, I could see myself in the Seth Rogen character talking about why movies are important while we live in a world where like we're bombing Iran and shit like that. I'm just like, no, but like we need to like worry about the future of Elio because that might impact like what original films we get in the future. Like
the patients at the pit and needs something on the TV.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
There's casting, which I think is one of the
So
most like
funny.
genius and sharp pieces of writing that I've ever seen, which is like has this whole commentary on like what the casting process is and what's
Of the
considered
Kool-Aid
racist
movie.
and what's considered like a counter to racism. And like, is it actually, if we make an all black movie, is that actually more racist than making an integrated movie? It's incredible. Like, I think this is such a sharp, such an astute show that I love it. It's my favorite TV show.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. You watched it, right?
Yeah.
Danny?
No, it's very good. I was, like I said, I was very terrified to admit it, and then once I saw that you approved of it, you know.
What was your favorite
You
episode
approved.
or favorite cameo?
Crandog.
I mean, Cranston was excellent.
Cranston, I wouldn't say it's a cameo because
Yeah,
he's
he's
just
his
playing.
part.
He's
Yeah.
just playing a guy. But there's so many people like playing themselves.
Yeah, that kind of like Scorsese.
Scorsese's
Yeah.
really
Man.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also his movie, you're like, fuck, I want to see the Scorsese
Yeah,
Jonestown
exactly.
movie.
Yeah,
Come on,
it
man.
was got
Buscemi
dumped by the
Jonestown.
Kool-Aid man,
That's
you know?
incredible.
Like, I don't know. I think was it episode 2 that was a solid shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The
one-
Oner.
That one, it was like I didn't even realize it was a solid shot until halfway through, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my
and
god!
it's
wait.
about them trying to get the oneer with what's the Sarah Pauly is the
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
It's I'm like 2 or 3 eps in, and it's like a special show. It's a really
It's a
good show.
heater. Yeah, it's a
It's
heater.
incredible.
Shout
Absolutely
out to the extended cast as well. Chase Sui Wonders as Quinn, early contender for breakout performer of the year at the WBAMs. I had never seen her in anything before, and she plays like the assistant turned creative executive, which is something that Seth Rogen actually did with his real life assistant. And I think she knocked it out of the park. She's just like totally on the same level as Catherine Kahn and Catherine O'Hara, Ike
And
Barinholtz.
Ike
Oh,
Barinholtz,
yeah.
our boy Ike.
Yeah.
Good for him. He's actually like
Sal
doing some good stuff.
Saperstein. Thank you, Sal Saperstein.
Thank you, Sal Saperstein.
Yeah, special show renewed for season 2.
Two really good picks.
Yeah.
If they got Scorsese and Ron Howard for this season, they got to get Spielberg
Well,
for season 2.
I mean, even just coming into it, maybe it's just the clout that Apple
Is
TV
it doing
has.
second season?
Yeah.
Yes, it
Renewed.
got approved for,
let's
renewed
go.
for second season. But like they shot a scene or a whole episode during the Golden Globes last year. So I think that like they already kind of have a lot of behind the scenes
Yeah.
access and levers to pull and people who they can bring on.
Seth has said that he has so many ideas for episodes. Like they want to do a test screening episode. Apparently, they want to do a film festival episode
Yeah.
where the whole episode is them doing like the continuous applause at like the film festival.
Do, like,
where
a
they
tw-
don't stop
a
for like
24 minute
minutes.
episode that's
He's
the
really
entire
grown.
unbroken
That's
applause.
awesome.
He's grown a lot too.
Yeah,
like
dude.
Seth Rogen, like he's come a long way.
Yeah,
when you
dude,
think
he's
about
not
it.
doing ceramics anymore. He's actually working.
You know, we
know?
have like 2 pieces of like
You fuck.
pottery. Yeah,
Houseplant.
yeah,
Yeah,
we have
it's
2.
the most overpriced shit in the world.
Yeah, well, we got them both as Christmas gifts.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Hunter.
Yeah, he rocks. He's been hungry to be taken seriously for like a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
now.
he fucking did it.
And
He's
you know, the Hollywood Reporter roundtables are coming out now. Have y'all watched those yet?
Yeah.
He did one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that one's I think the best one so far.
Yeah.
The dramatic actors one is always like, okay, let's find out which dramatic actor is a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
It's Walton Goggins.
Oh no.
Not in terms of like being a bad guy, but in terms of like being very annoying.
Yeah.
Like about being an actor.
Here's the thing. I love Walton Goggins. I could have guessed that one. I could have guessed like his scenes on like the Fallout set were like really serious.
It's
day.
just, yeah, it's
And
just like
sir, you're in ghoul makeup. I need
Yeah.
you to like tone it down just a little bit.
All right, Hunter.
All right, so you took the studio for me, which did hurt a little bit, but that's okay because I have my favorite movie of the year already, and I'm gonna take. Whenever I was talking about a year of like a lot of albums that I liked but I didn't love, there's one album that I think transcends that for me is bordering on perfect, and that's Patience Moonbeam by Great Grandpa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Here's the thing. I've been out here on Great Grandpa Island. I shouted them out a few years ago whenever their last album, actually now like 2019, whenever their last album came out, Four of Arrows. Patience Moonbeam is really just a level up in every possible way. The best way that like I tried to describe it to you guys in the Discord is like if Group Love, a band that we all had a lot of affection for in like the early 2010s, if they, instead of evolving their sound to try and become like poppier and get more like radio, like rock radio play, if they opened up like the alternative country door,
yeah, the folk bag,
the folk, and they just embrace that sound. And it's not just because their guy singer sounds a lot like the dude from Group Love. Just like sonically, they share a lot of similarities. I think this album is like pretty fucking phenomenal. It's pretty undeniable. It has some of those like folksy elements to it, but it's also got some really, really catchy earworm bangers, like specifically thinking of things like Junior or Ladybug are just like that.
yeah, which is like that's like the most Group Love thing I've ever
Yeah.
heard since the, like Group Love first album, where it gets big like that and it just sounds like a bunch of people singing like together and like naturally in a room. That's I've been missing that from like a lot of modern music.
But like also they get a little bit like I guess weirder. Like they get a little bit more out there with their
dude.
sound.
Yeah.
Like
No,
specifically-
this is like a serious, like this is like a dynamic band. Like they like you go in and you're like, okay, I get what they're doing here. There's the lane of like modern like indie folk alternative is very full right now. And they have so many tricks to them. Like they take so many turns. They like dip their toes into so many different genres. Like this is my favorite album of the year so far. I would have taken it if you didn't.
Yeah.
It's really it's shot. It just like surprises you every time you give it another listen. You're like, wow, this band has like some shit to them. Like they have layers and like details that you just wouldn't expect. Like this music could so easily be like a flat sort of 7. And that's almost like, I don't know. First listen, I was just assuming that's what it was after a couple songs. And it's not that. Like it's a really, really dynamic, interesting album from like a band that just, there's a lot more than meets the eye to them.
So the refrain in Emma that's like, it's closer when I see you.
Yeah. It's funny how
when that comes back in a different song.
Yeah, I think it's in Ladybug.
Is it in Doom?
It's in Doom.
Oh.
Yeah.
When that happened, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they do.
They do a lot of callbacks themselves. Like
Yeah.
Sonic, which is one of my favorite things I've ever been.
Exactly. They do things that it's like, why aren't more bands doing this stuff? Like we all like it.
It's also the way that this album, because I think it's very traditional in that like the earworm songs, the songs that get you right away are on the front part of the album. And then like it gets a little bit more weirder really with Doom. And then moving forward to the back half, it gets a little bit more experimental. It gets a little bit more like almost like swingier with kind of some of the music that they're
just like harder than like it's not just like soft. Like I'm sick of the soft folk. I'm over it. We can move on, guys.
You can have like one, maybe 2 soft folk songs on an album if they're good and well done. I don't want like a whole half of the album that just kind of like melds a little bit together. Honestly, here's the thing. And it's still an album that I really enjoyed. That's part of my problem with the Bon Iver album. I think half of that album is excellent and half of it is just a blur to me. And I think that that's like a problem and that's not even like pure folkiness, but that's a problem that a lot of these artists kind of get into, where they get a little bit too distant with some of their sounds.
Yeah, where it's like, it's like, could you like get closer to the fucking microphone? Could you like use your chest a little bit?
I hate to say it's the Antonoffification of everything too. That like
I was gonna say this is no discredit because it's a really great artist, but this is like the effect of Phoebe Bridgers.
That too.
Because when you try to imitate her, you end up sounding worse.
But instead, to bring this back to Great Grandpa, like I think that it does, and as a positive to Phoebe Bridgers, Great Grandpa like gets a little bit low and then they re-escalate. And I think Kid might be my favorite song of the year.
The closer.
The closing track.
It's such a good close.
It is such like an explosion of sound. It has all of these like, again, those sonic callbacks to the album itself. By the way, there's this little band called Coheed and Cambria that does that a lot. You guys would love those guys.
The father of Make Believe.
Might be coming on my next bet. Who knows? It's great.
Hunter, you can wait. I'll be honest.
God, Drew, if you
you've told me to listen to this band like maybe 7 times, and I've added them to my album list, and I've listened to them a few times. However, there was a comment that Drew made that stuck with me, and he's like, "You're gonna listen to it, and then at one point, it's just gonna click." And I remember driving home in the rain from dropping off my dogs before I left on vacation, and that's when it clicked. Then I was listening to Great Grandpa, and I was
On the
like,
way up to Tennessee.
well, on the way back home, like, because I just dropped off my dogs, like going back home to finish packing, and I was like, oh my God, it's like such an overwhelming, like it's very like emotion inducing.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's crazy depth, but it's a grower.
It's true folk in that way. Like that's what folk music was always supposed to be, where it's supposed to like speak to something deep inside of you.
Okay,
And that's
okay,
really
Timmy Chalamet.
It's closer.
Yeah.
We have been recording for an hour and we're halfway through the second round. So
I know. But
Ernie's
no,
about to yell at us.
excellent album. I liked it a
it's
lot.
incredible.
And I think I'm going to, like, as I listen to it throughout the year, it's going to keep getting higher.
Yeah, it just keeps going up. There are layers, and it's like if you've given it one shot, give it a couple more.
I will also say, and I never actually do this with albums and everything, but I got the vinyl for it.
Nice.
It sounds like unfucking believable on vinyl. Like it is just one of those things where it's like, oh, this sounds like it was always meant to be projected.
I need to upgrade my speaker setup. I don't want to invest in like a lot of high fidelity pressings until I upgrade my speaker setup. So, Great Grandpa.
Fair.
Back to you, Danny.
Well, I have to do this. I'm going to take Severance.
There you go.
Nice.
I
Me too.
would have done it. I'm running dry over here, guys.
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared one of you guys were going to take it on the way back, but I'm really happy with Severance. Severance, I mean, it had a chokehold on me, like my whole brain, like whole thinking, like it was just a whole lot of what's going to happen, what's going to go on.
It's still
with
the
this.
most messages of any channel in the Discord.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, you guys still haven't passed it.
We were. Well, first of all, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, there's a lot to.
Do you know
talk
how many
about.
fucking episodes of
I was
Love
just gonna
Island
say,
there
just
are?
by sheer volume of episodes alone.
There's like 48 episodes. or something.
There's a
Go
pivotal
off.
ep tonight that we're missing right now. You're welcome.
Yeah, Mitzel's freaking out over text. She's like, "Oh my God, you have to see this." And I'm like,
Oh man.
But yeah,
Oh my God, they're talking about Cold Harbor. They're explaining Cold Harbor.
yeah.
Patricia Arquette's the new bombshell. She's having sex with Austin. Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, I just loved the show. It was awesome. Like the way it kind of like escalated to, like, I love the mysterious factor of shows where it's like you don't really know what's going
the
on.
mystery box.
That's kind of like when they lose, when you figure everything out. That's kind of like when you lose, you lose your charm.
Yeah.
And for this, they've given you enough.
Well, they
to, like,
needed to. They couldn't keep stringing people along.
Yeah, I think they've given you enough to like make you feel like you're learning something, but now you thought you knew the innie, but you don't. Like by the end of it, that's kind of where we're at right now.
What a great ending.
yeah.
That finale just knocked me out.
Powerful.
Whatever problems I had with the season, I really don't care anymore because that finale was so fucking perfect.
Yeah,
Edge of your seat.
they landed the plane. It's I think it's, you know, like a lot of shows, it suffers because of its discourse in a lot of ways, because like so much is built
People
out
trying to solve it.
Yeah, and just so many like options are explored that it almost, like, whatever the choice is gonna be, it's kind of feels a little bit ruined, because you can't just like take it in the way you're supposed to with art. But it's a great show. It's an awesome show.
It's very, very cool. I think that it's funny. I have very similar complaints to this to another show that I know is going to be drafted at some point in time today. In that it's just like, I feel like sometimes you're focusing on the wrong things, like especially talking about the Redditification of Severance, I think really brought it down in some instances. It was a show of like the highest highs though. Like the highs are 10 out of 10s. Like you cannot beat some of the highs that the show is reaching. There's just some other things I'm like, I just don't care about these things. So season 3 of Severance, I don't really know where we go from here. They've talked about making a spinoff show. That sounds like a disaster to me, to be honest. Like, I don't.
Was it going to be about Milchick?
If here's the thing, if Ben Stiller isn't involved in the show, then I think that it goes completely off the rails. Like, I think that Ben Stiller is the one who's keeping it afloat, and I think he proved that with the finale, where it's like, no, I'm the one who's gonna like steady the ship. I know like what is interesting about this world and what you want to come back to. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
I'd watch a Totoro spinoff.
Okay, well, that's specific.
What about
I just don't want to watch
the little girl that goes off to the Empathy Academy, the little intern girl. What's her name? Mrs. Whatever.
Wong?
Sounds bad.
Like
a YA.
Again, we're delving too much into like learning the lore.
YA Severance.
YA Severance.
All right, Drew.
You get 2 here.
I know, and I really want 3 right here.
Okay, so that's not really how drafts work, though. So unfortunately, yeah.
Can I trade?
Yeah, we can trade. I get to draft.
Does anyone want to trade back?
I'll trade with you, but
picks?
Yeah, you have to give me your second and your third anticipated draft coming for 2026.
No, but does anyone want an extra pick in exchange for me taking?
No, that's not how.
Fuck.
Dude,
Okay.
You think you can come out with uneven numbers?
That throws off the graphic.
Every year you post this on the watch
graphic design nightmare,
and like they're gonna roast him. They're gonna roast him.
Are you kidding me? If I did a trade, they would think I was a genius.
No, they're gonna
be like, nobody ever thought of that before.
They're gonna look at your second pick and be like, "What happened to Drew's team?"
I'll be like, no, you'll be like the Phoenix Suns who just have no plans to start a center.
I'm not
this
doing
year.
it.
You're
just
just
have like 3 shooting guards.
Here's the thing. Yeah, you're just like, what if we went small ball, but that's our only option?
I'm not
like,
doing this for the watch people. I'm not doing this for a bunch of 40-year-old men.
You're doing this for the girls and the gays.
So, I'll take The Last of Us season 2.
Okay.
This is the show I was just alluding to.
Yeah, of course. It's a step down from season 1. It got like chewed up and spit out by the discourse. 90% of it was for the wrong reasons. But nevertheless damaged the show like as a product. And I think in certain ways affected how they had to make the show, unfortunately. I also think there's a solid chance that at the end of the day, this might go down as the worst season of the show. Like when it's all said and done.
Yeah, because we're about to pick up big.
It's gonna fucking take off.
Yeah, and like that said, this is still a massive budget, like big picture, high concept show with like that manages to still be rooted in performance.
Yeah.
And it's really, really good performances. And
have you played the games?
No, I don't believe in that.
Okay. So
Well, one of the coolest things about Drew watching The Last of Us season 2 is he didn't know
he had the
anything
perspective
about what happened going into it. So like the shocking.
So yeah, you've seen it all, right? You know it. Well, yeah. So
spoiler alert for The Last of Us season 2. Spoiler alert.
That's the other thing is like no sane like show writer
would ever do that.
What Neil Druckmann did with The Last of Us 2 is absolutely deranged, and I respect him a lot for it. But like that made it really hard to sell this season of the fucking show.
Yeah.
We have the amount of goodwill that this duo has built up is like it's some of the the most like iconic chemistry I've ever seen in a show between two
Just
characters,
delete.
and they fucking kill him so quickly.
Well, I was gonna say that I thought going into it that they were gonna change the story of the game.
Maybe
I thought
kill him
so
a little
too.
later or something.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
would
Elongate,
happen.
like significantly change the nature of the story to capitalize on like the goods of having great talent.
Well, or even I don't know, because the fact that happened so early on, I don't really know how you dance around that fact. Spoilers for The Last of Us, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll put a
Put a little bumper.
I'll put
on
a
there.
yeah.
I think that where like one of my issues with the season of television is that like I think that it's so much of a difference when you are playing as a character and you're like, I have forced empathy because this is who I'm playing as. I have to be this
Yeah.
character,
When
whether
you're
I want to
watching,
be
it's
or not.
yeah.
I think that when you were doing a television show, you had the luxury where we can back and forth and have two parallel storylines happening.
I'm honestly shocked they didn't do that.
The fact that
They just
it's
did
not-
the game.
It's really making it out to be it is reinforcing in many ways a lot of the bad faith arguments against the show, specifically about the Ellie character. And somebody who has played through the game, I'm like, no, like I do get what they're saying. They do make some changes, which we talked about in our in-depth discussion. So I don't want to like go all over the retread that whole discussion again. But I wanted more than anything. I loved how season 1 lived in the grays of this world, and like we were able to just do these like tangent episodes, and even do something like the episode which is DLC to
Yeah, Left
first game,
Behind.
Left Behind, where you have the Ellie and her lady
first love.
friend. I can't remember the name. Storm Reed, where we have like that whole episode tangent away from this world. This season became a little bit too plotty, and I get why you have to do that.
It's the second game is a lot of plot.
It's
to
a
get
lot
through,
of plot, but I just wish that now there's already discussion of stretching this into 4 seasons.
Yeah.
I just wish that this would have had the runway to have had that leash to begin with, so we wouldn't have to do this like very plot heavy. Every time that somebody is like delivering dialogue, it is something important because we have to move to the next step in this city.
You gonna watch this, Danny?
Am I gonna watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
I mean,
just haven't gotten around to it.
I've played the games.
I know.
Have you?
So-
Did you watch the first season?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched the first season,
Okay.
so I know where that goes.
But you're not out.
I saw the first 2 episodes of season 2.
Oh, okay.
So
you started
I'm-
it.
You
I've-
watched the big moment.
But then
Yeah.
Love Island, you know.
Yeah, it kind of takes.
It
over.
a lot of
really
episodes, yeah.
consumes like every night.
Well,
of
because
the
it's every
fucking
night.
life.
Yeah,
It's
every night.
crazy.
It's for a fucking hour, and then you got the 30 minutes of discussion, which mandatory.
Minimum.
It's mandatory, by the way. Yeah, you would know.
Drew, you never watched Game of Thrones, did you?
I've seen so much of it completely out of order.
'Cause
like being in the room with people.
I think
like probably half of it.
I think
genuinely.
Last of Us, like divorced from the game, just the things that it does here, you can't help but think about Game
Oh
of
yeah,
Thrones.
that's what I'm saying. Is like it's a huge like tent pole style, like big,
Mhm.
big feeling
That's
show.
what HBO wants it to be.
The
explicitly.
the killing the main characters.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones was the first show that did that in to that extent.
and yeah,
right?
like repeatedly.
Yeah.
See, this was a little different though, because Pedro was the knight in shining armor. For
Yeah,
this
but
entire
so
show.
was
Sean
Sean
Bean. Yeah, but-
Bean.
But there's a lot more characters. in
This
Game
is less of an
Thrones.
ensemble, I think, than Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I
there's-
get what you're saying, Danny.
Yeah.
Like Pedro was like the soul of the
Yeah,
show,
the core.
Yeah.
and it in a way that I mean, I'm sure he's like just like that in the game, but like this was like Pedro's. You know, he had done stuff. Obviously, I'm sure he was a big deal in fucking Mando, and now he's in literally everything. This was, I think, the best we'll ever see him. Like, I think this was the perfect use of him. The warmth, like
Daddy.
yeah, like the eyes. You know what I mean? Like the stoicism. It was just like a crazy performance. And bouncing that off of Bella was just like absolute perfection.
Yeah.
And there's no way to write around the fact of what happens in the second game. So.
I'm very curious to hear your thoughts once you actually watch
Well,
it.
and so also that's why like when we get the flashback up, it's like
It hits.
Yeah, it's like perfection. Like it's cinema.
Yeah, I mean, I love the games, and like it kind of like took the reins where it's we had other TV shows to watch, but I still am very excited to watch this. I don't care what old white men say about this
On
show.
Facebook.
Yeah,
Oh, I will say, like you watch it, and I don't know how somebody could watch the show and be like, Bella Ramsey sucks. Like I think that.
I can. It's pedophiles.
Well, that I mean specifically
Creeps.
because
She doesn't even make me want to hit.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
She doesn't have the.
It's like very odd. That's what
Stupid.
bothers
It's
me
gross.
about
Really
it.
gross.
And it's like, I don't know. I felt like this show would have gotten a lot more credit if like it wasn't for the public fucking just downing this whole show.
It's almost like gamers are like subhuman and should all be like
Are you saying
rounded
that,
up and
like-
shot.
I
Wait,
don't
are
even
you
think
saying
it's gamers that are
Do
doing.
you think
this.
like gamer culture is like kind of like gross and misogynistic? Is that what
I
you're
did
saying
watch a
right now?
documentary about QAnon that does make the case that like Gamergate led directly, or maybe not directly, but like was the seed that blossomed into the insurrection
Can
on the
I-
Capitol.
Wait, sorry. This is a side tangent that's kind of related to this. So I got a Switch 2, which might be discussed at a later point in this draft, depending on how long we're drafting for. And Guy and I, like, first day we like play some games. He's like, let's go on the App Store. Let's see what else is on here. And it's like, some of the big titles. It's like, Mario Kart, of course. It's some of the games that have been like remastered, like the Zelda. And it was like, let's just keep scrolling down here on the App Store. And like immediately you just get met with a wall of like waifu wife, like hot hentai wife, nurse
On
daughter.
the official Nintendo
yeah.
eShop.
And I'm like,
Oh my
Nintendo's
God.
so weird about so many different like third-party
That's
developers
so
coming on
funny.
here. And yet I can just like, I could probably look right now and find 50 different like games that have like waifu or hentai in the title and everything.
Yeah,
and I'm
and
like,
you're looking at him,
this
and
is
Guy is like, "Wait, this
weird."
game has been finished.
Downloaded.
Yeah.
This game is
You gotta
completed.
Yeah,
100%.
it says cloud download.
reinstall?
Yeah.
80 hours of playtime. We've only had the Switch for like 80 hours.
Wait, oh, what's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
Sorry, it's furry waifu core.
All right, Drew, you get another pick.
Oh,
Yeah, that was quite the tangent.
So, gamers,
Totally forgot.
might
What did you
suck.
pick again?
The
Waifus?
You picked Hurry Waifu 9.
at this point, I got to be myself. I got to be the real me.
Yes.
Damn it! I really thought this was gonna come back to me. Great pick.
Which includes the visual materials as well,
Mhm.
of course.
Of course.
Kyle M.
All music videos.
Kyle M may or may not be related to Kyle Mooney.
Formerly known. The
the-
artist formerly known.
The real me.
What was the fake
I was worried he was gone. The real him.
yeah.
Like genuinely, he hadn't done just like his like old style of playing a really stupid guy and
Yeah.
committing insanely hard for so
Also, what, like 10 years on SNL?
yeah.
Wasted.
He was on SNL for an insane amount of time. There's some really great stuff, in that repertoire, but it's underwhelming considering like this was like my
Yeah.
idol. This was my favorite person in the world when I was like 18. He directs Y2K. He's making fucking A24 movies. And then immediately after that rollout, for which he did a lot of press, by the way,
Yeah.
he's like going on shows talking about Y2K.
He's abandoning.
Yeah, he makes an Instagram post. It's like, I have an announcement, everybody. I'm going to be doing something, and not a lot of people are going to like it. And then he just very earnestly starts dropping like very like studio photography shots
Yeah.
of himself looking very like Father John Misty.
Yeah.
and then he drops the real me out of absolutely
Yeah.
fucking nowhere. And it rocks.
I mean, how to describe these songs? It's like the way I kept trying to describe it is like AI could never make this.
Exactly.
This is the most human generated
Yeah.
music ever.
It's like if you took a regular guy and you like hit him with a shovel.
But here,
You can't intentionally like do like the mic bumps.
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
the clipping.
Or like the like blowing out the mic.
Yeah,
just while you're
exactly.
talking.
Every
It's so
song,
perfect.
he is so dialed in the specific ways that he's bad, which was always like the case. That was all like
That
it
was
just,
what the charm of Kyle
in
was.
his old videos. That was the exact
Yeah.
same thing. Like his visual style in those videos, like he would put up like weird like clip art from PowerPoints
Yeah.
and stuff.
And that's like
This
the
is
weird thing that they didn't do enough of on S. Where it's like
Exactly.
that is like funny and like those were like some of the biggest videos
Yeah.
that he had. Like why couldn't you have replicated that in some
exactly.
kind of way?
Half
This
of
is just
these-
the audio version of that, of like
Right.
being super dialed into like in a way that like feels like it must be pre-planned of like I'm going to inhabit this guy and
Yes.
these are the specific ways that he is bad at
but
music.
but half of the songs feel like he had no idea what he was gonna do before he hit record. Like he just
I'm gonna dance tonight.
like he's like he doesn't know what to say. Or it feels like he doesn't know what the lyrics
Okay,
are.
no, there are just whole verses like shout out California Summer. Don't fade away, where he just like doesn't say anything for like a verse. He's like,
So
yeah.
So I guess are you drafting this like purely on
Here's
like
the thing.
like a media standpoint, like it's funny, or is there a real chance this is on your top 10 albums?
It's currently on
Top?
It's currently my top 5
Wow.
albums of the year.
Wow.
I will
What
just
does
because-
top mean?
Here's the
you
thing.
know what I mean?
It's personal favorite, and here's
Exactly.
The thing.
It
This
brings
is gonna
me joy.
Kyle.
I listen to it and I'm happy.
Kyle M might be my top artist of the year at the end of the year on Spotify.
When it's all said and done,
He-
it's hard not to put it on because it's so
It's so funny.
fucking
It's
funny.
so funny.
Gwendolyn Bard.
Gwendolyn Bartley is the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Bartley.
It's like what? Yeah, like what if like the dumbest guy ever listened to Eleanor Rigby? It was
When
like,
I-
oh, I can. It was like I can. Oh, I can do that. Like it's so smart.
Guy and I's favorite thing to do for the last since March, whenever this came out, is just like, oh babe, I got that. I'll play music for us, and then we just like put on like my blue car.
He also-
just put on some shit, but it also is like kind of catchy, and that's like kind of the magic that Kyle.
Dude, have you
has,
seen
is
the
that it's
videos
like,
of him on tour? He's on tour right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's touring it.
People
No,
are
he's
just
doing
singing
a double tour
along.
of the fake me and the real me, where he does a comedy set and then he
Yeah.
does a
Well, it's
music
because
set.
these songs are catchy.
It's
Yeah.
because they are catchy. Like there is something
Daddy sure
about it
loves
that's
you.
good.
He also like the specific affectations he's taken on, like of where he just like the last word he abbreviates a lot of the time on every line, where he, like, and he says like meh instead of me. That's like kind of the same thing. Where, yeah,
Meh.
yeah, like yeah, he like punctuates these words. It's like, where does that come from in your head? I cannot. It's like Andy Kaufman style like character work, where it's like, why? How do you decide? How do you like lower the IQ knob in your brain in that way, but in such like a controlled way? He's a talented man. I respect him
Genius.
so much.
Kyle M, the real meme.
Beautiful.
Great pick. Absolutely.
Danny, you're up.
Pick.
Uh,
Turn off your phone.
Yeah. Turn off the TV.
That's a catchy
Everyone's
song.
Living in society.
I think at this point, I'm free. I can pick as
Go
I
off the
want.
board, yeah.
Yeah, because
We are now round 3. This doesn't normally happen this early.
yeah. So now I think everything that I really cared about,
It's taken.
it's taken or I have it. Which I like my first 2 picks, but here I will go with a pick that's specifically for me, and that is the self-titled by Viagra Boys.
Wow.
Hey, no.
No,
this
I would have
album
taken it,
Let's
man.
go.
fucking rocks,
I would have taken
man.
it later.
Let's go.
This album fucking rules.
It's one of my top 5 of the year so far. It's so
It's
good.
so fucking good. It's the chaos, like being in is Sebastian, is that his name? Sebastian's head, and just hearing him talk, like, look at that dude who looks like a raisin, like shit like that.
The thing he says about Chandler Bing, like,
Hot tub water.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's fucking phenomenal. And like it all started by me
Oh my
watching.
God, they're Swedish.
I
Yeah, they're
know.
Swedish,
We
yeah.
had this
Whoa.
conversation the other day. You couldn't have paid me to guess that. Like he seems so. The music sounds Australian, and he sounds so American.
Yeah, and I remember it started by me watching their Coachella set, and I was like, these guys are chaos, and I love it. Like there was a scene where he gets the mic and he puts it between his sweaty cleavage, and he's just screaming into it, like,
You need me.
dude, he's phenomenal, and it's just like fucking like such high highs. That whole album is just phenomenal too. Like
Yeah,
it's-
one comparison that Ernest said that I had as well listening to it is like musically there's like a weird amount of Cage the Elephant in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They use a lot of the same crunchy guitars, and just sort of like there's a lot of good like 2010s alt rock sound, which is like evaporate off the face of the earth. Like, and it's a great sound. So I'm glad that they're doing that. But then on top of it, it sounds like he's just like on acid and like saying words.
Well,
it
no,
sounds like there's no lyrics. Like he's just like
Yeah.
saying shit into a microphone.
Projecting.
It almost is, and this is I don't know if this album is gonna get drafted, so sorry if I'm stepping on anybody, but shout out to it because it's currently in my top 10 of the year. The Cheek Face album that came out this
Great
year,
album.
where it's a really really good album. I like it a lot, and it's almost just like has that same kind of joke affectation to everything. Like lyrics don't matter. Like that is kind of the stance they're taking. It's just like it doesn't matter what I'm saying as long as you like the way that I'm saying it, and that is the entire oeuvre that Cheek Face and Viagra Boys are putting out. So I love it.
It's technically not a self-titled because it's Viagr
Aboys.
Viagra Boys. Yeah,
Love the album cover too.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
It's like a face.
No, this is a great pick. This album rocks, dude.
Yeah,
it's just good music. Like it's well produced.
You talked about how like there's like a lot of like pop progressions too, like
Yeah,
throughout it.
Yeah, that's kind of another Cage the Elephant thing of like they respect like, you know, the good old like the tried and true like progressions. Like it's not for how out there he sounds. Like the music is super grounded.
Yeah.
And like it's very listenable.
The fucking bass line in Dirty Boys just like so infectious. Like ugh.
Yeah.
I love it.
Their music has taken a big step up like since like last time I heard them, musically they sounded a lot to me like Eagles of Death Metal, where it was just kind of like the same kind of like
more basic.
yeah, just like really fast, like eighth notes beats, you know, like 120 beats a minute every song, and like just like, you know, kind of jamming on chords, and it was good. Like that was a good band, but you know that has a cap, and this is better than I ever thought they'd be.
Viagra Boys. Great pick, Danny. All right, Hunter.
Viagra Boys.
So I bad news. I looked at my draft board and I realized that I've now all of the TV shows that I've watched this year have been drafted.
There is one.
Well, there's one TV product that I have watched this year, and if I'm being honest, it's the most of any TV that I've seen,
Yeah.
and it's also like probably the thing that I've enjoyed the most.
Fuck.
I'm drafting the NBA playoffs as a whole, but really this Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, that was my next pick listed was
Oh, wow.
Indiana Pacers
Okay.
playoff run. That was my next choice.
Shout out to the Halaban.
The dream that wasn't realized.
Here's the thing about, well, one, I will say, I don't give a shit about any of the discussion about like the fucking ratings or whatever the hell.
Are you drafting
this
all
was-
the way through?
I'm drafting
Game
just
7?
the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm just
Just
drafting.
not the finals.
Well, including the
Including
finals. It's all inclusive.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think that this entire NBA playoffs has been pretty fucking phenomenal. Like I really loved every bit of it. Going back to the OKC Denver playoff series was unbelievable basketball, and most years that would be the playoff series of in the same way that what was the series? It was Knicks Pacers last year.
Yeah, so all the
Or
Pacers
Knicks
series,
Sixers.
all the Pacers series were good. All the other ones were kind of like meh. The West was insanely good.
Well, the East was not as good, but that's unfortunately
A lot of
product
injuries,
where
yeah.
we're at and
Tatum
the injuries and
injury.
everything else.
Yeah.
Put that on the side, the injuries, because I do have a whole thing specifically about that. But I think that with the West playoffs themselves, pretty much every single night I was watching wherever it was happening. I was loving the Timberwolves run that they were having. Them dismantling and destroying the Lakers was beautiful. Whenever I was like, Lakers, you know, they actually have the second best odds to come out of the West now and everything. And I was like, this team doesn't have a big man. So somebody's just gonna bully the shit out of him. And guess what? Rudy Gobert fucking feasted on that team. Like, hey, it turns out that having a center is important. I really love OKC. And I feel like that has gotten kind of lost in this because of specifically there is a lot of like Shea foul baits, blah, blah, blah in the regular season. And I think because they were such presumptive favorites, a lot of times just your impulse as sports fans is that you want to neg the favorite and just cheer for the underdog.
Yeah.
OKC is an underdog. Like historically, they are a team that they do everything the right way. They drafted all of these players. They built from inside. They did everything where they trained up correctly. They got all of these pieces that you would typically love.
The other reason that people were dunking on them is like it's like a partially correct one, which is that like Dort and Caruso were just like mugging guys, and it's like, do you ever see who wins the finals? It's the teams that have a guy who beats the shit out of everyone.
Here's the thing.
That's how you win the NBA finals. You have a dirty player. That's just kind of how it goes. It's unfortunate.
I will say, and I don't know like how he continued to get away from it. I know Bill Simmons has been all over this. I don't know how Alex Caruso gets away with anything. He's always holding somebody's wrist,
just like on wildly inbounds. Dirty.
It's crazy. I'm just like, why isn't every fucking team like, hey refs, look at what the fuck this guy's doing? He's grabbing the players. Like, I don't know if it's just because he looks like a bald white dude that people are like, we got to give him an advantage somehow. Like, I don't know. We got to give him some kind of perk, but. I think that team is.
Dort plays like an offensive lineman.
He shoves.
There were points in one of the indie games where he was just standing at the half court, and whoever had tried to cross it, he would just like red rover them.
Yeah,
like,
that's great.
But like, unfortunately, that's not unique to like this Thunder team.
Yeah.
Most finals teams. I'm trying to think of the dude's name who was like that for so many years. He was a 3-and-D guy. Who was on like multiple finals teams because he would do 3-and-D and just beat guys up. It was another Dreads guy, very similar to Dort.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like that.
I love how I knew exactly what we were.
Yeah, I was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. Every finals team has a Crowder. Like,
you gotta
most
have
of them
that guy.
do. You have a dirty motherfucker,
scrappy motherfucker. PJ Tuckers. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys.
They happen to have two of them.
Unless your team that's built
and
the right way, like the 2024 Boston Celtics.
So, do you guys think that if Halliburton hadn't been injured, they would have the?
He was hot.
So
he was shit all
win?
series long, and then he got hot. And this game 7, he was 3 for 4 in the first quarter.
I would push back against he was shit. Because I think here's the thing. I think that I am glad that Halliburton became much more of a household name, as much of a household name as because this finals, it's like, oh, it's
how
Oklahoma
bad
City
is the
and
injury?
Indiana.
It's the worst injury you can get.
Yeah,
he's out for a year.
A torn Achilles is like
sometimes like a year and a half plus.
It's
and
not
a lot
6 months. It's a year. Like,
and a lot of times it is.
Do they keep him or?
Well, yes, yeah. Okay. I mean, you have to. Here's the thing: is that like with Achilles, they've gotten a lot better now. I think Kevin Durant's a good example of this, but.
Yeah, it used to be like
straight up
you retired almost most of the time. Now you can live.
You still even Kevin Durant like
You're
and
never
he's older.
You're never the same.
You don't have the same explosiveness like ever again. And Halliburton was never a player who's like built off of explosiveness. To be honest, I'm more worried about it for Tatum. For something like that because I think that where Tatum was at his best was as a big bully ball guy. Like, and
yeah,
I think
whenever
that
he would drive.
I think that once he unlocked, if I want to be 2016 LeBron James, I think that would like push him to that like perennial
what's
all NBA level. And I don't know if
what's unfortunate is that he already was too hesitant to do that a lot of the time, and that's when it would be frustrating with Tatum is when he would just like be shooting threes, and you're like, dude, get in there, bro. Yeah. Now he's gonna have a good excuse to not get in there, and it's gonna be really hard to watch.
I still believe in it because I still think he was like D'ing dudes the fuck up, and I think that isn't gonna go away with this. To the bigger problem is that these Achilles injuries are becoming like a real issue now for the NBA. They have to.
They're looking into them.
It's okay. Well, I need Adam Silver to fucking do something. I'm sorry, Adam Silver. Like you get all this credit and everything else. Like I need you to do something about this because this is bad.
It's the back-to-backs. It's all the miles they run.
I know, but like Achilles injuries are things that happen to guys. They happen to Kobe in the last couple of years of their career. They happen to people who are like that is an end-stage injury. It should not be happening to people that are in their primes. We should not be having this to guys that are 26 years old. Like,
so I think that by far the biggest thing to blame here is AAU, which unfortunately I don't think structurally is going to change, but it makes it so like from the time that these players are like 7 on, they're playing basketball like 6 hours a day or something. They have like full NBA career minutes on their bodies like by the time they enter the league.
Well, here's how you fix that. You go down to like 60 games. And 60 games I know is too drastic. I know they won't do that, but go down to 70 games. Like do that much. You extend the games out so that you have more rest.
That's the biggest thing. So it has to be less games and also extend the season. But one thing I will say about the OKC Thunder is that you like him now.
I know.
but
I know. You're
I-
right.
they're gonna be a problem.
Here's the thing. I know that you're right. And that's one, to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I wanted Indy to win. I want to talk more about Indy.
That is a
because-
good point. Imagine if the Celtics had been in the finals and Lou Dort was like beating up Jaylen Brown. You'd want to kill them.
Yeah. Look, I already have some thoughts about Josh Hart right now after the Knicks series, and how Josh Hart's like I wouldn't mind if like somebody like ran over his toe in a cab in New York, but
Jeez.
look, I said a toe. I said a toe.
In
That's
the dystopian Islam hellscape of New York City.
Yeah, it won't be an Uber running him over because they surge priced them out of there. He's gonna have to get hit by the subway.
Here's the thing. I love this Indy team. Like, this is the type of team that is always like a darling. It's the 7 seconds or less Suns. It's the thing that like everybody loves. Everybody like remembers years later, but it's like, oh yeah, no, they lost in the second round. Like the fact that this team was
They made it to
really
the last game, bro. It's
game
it
7.
is-
They won 15 playoff games. They
Yeah.
were right
They
there.
wouldn't
right
go
fucking
away.
there.
This
That's
was-
my favorite
yeah,
thing.
it was one of
That's
the
so cool, man. And it sucks that the Cinderella the clock struck midnight 5-6 minutes into game 7. Like that
Tough.
sucks so fucking
yeah,
hard.
but it cannot be understated how special like this team was and how like there was no expectation of them doing anything. And Halliburton in particular put together the most anomalous stretch of buzzer beater shots
An insanely viral moment.
in the history of basketball.
the
Yeah.
choke. The choke.
Yeah,
In the history-
Reggie Miller.
there was-
Dude, come on.
Yeah,
In
there's
New York,
there's
like-
a stat out there that like on the list of all time like last minute lead change like buzzer beater shots made, Halliburton is second all time, and he got them all this year in the playoffs.
Insane. Oh my
All of his
God.
came in 1 year. Like he's second to like LeBron James.
And to end that
over
with an
20
injury
years.
is so
Yeah, it's
fucking
just
tough.
so it's such a bummer. They
Ugh.
were so it was watching a movie.
And this guy, he was on the U.S. Olympic team, and he played maybe 20 minutes.
he played less than
And
Tatum
bro
on
was
the
like,
Olympic
and
team.
he
Yeah.
was like hyped, and he was waving towels and shit. Meanwhile, Tatum's like pouting in the corner, like a little
Tatum was,
bitch.
that's bullshit.
Like a
Tatum was a
pussy-ass
great
bitch.
teammate.
Tatum was
made
in
good
fact
friends.
pouting in the corner.
That's
Okay, great pick.
not even true.
NBA playoff.
It's
You got
great. I will
two.
say my last point is with all these injuries, it is retroactively making me appreciate LeBron James even more. That the fact that he has stayed fucking healthy through, he is in his 40s now.
I know,
And
he-
like,
he's a
there's
psycho,
meanwhile,
dude.
there's men who are in their mid 20s.
That's
in
the
their absolute
argument
prime.
I make for him being the GOAT.
I mean, that
That's
is the
my
thing.
argument.
Just
I've
no
I've
major
had
injuries.
this argument at Gaia because I wouldn't say
22
that, it
years
was mostly me talking
of
at her. but-
Dominating. 23 years of dominating. Well, go ahead. By the way, we're 2 hours deep.
I know.
Haven't finished the third one.
Ernie, this is going to be a 2-parter episode. I don't know how to
Well,
tell you
2
that.
hours of us sitting here, hour and a half of us actually recording the podcast. But I'll just go ahead and take
Oh,
Andor
I'm sorry
here.
for being a good guest and fun.
Get out! Get the fuck out! No Marvel spoilers. I'll take Andor here. Might as well. It doesn't matter if I take it here or in the last run.
The show is gonna like make me watch a Star Wars thing,
Uh,
and I didn't think that I would ever do that again.
I
To
mean,
be honest,
yeah.
it's hardly Star Wars.
that's
in
why
the
that's why I
broadest
want to watch
sense.
it.
It's mostly a political thriller about the rise of fascism.
Yeah, it's like Michael Clayton.
It's about what it takes to resist, what it takes to build an actual rebellion against an oppressive imperial force. It's just fun that it happens inside of the Star Wars continuity, and that you get, the empire from Star Wars and the rebellion from Star Wars, and it's all of this set dressing on top of this incredibly human story of resistance.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to watch it just based on like the sheer amount of praise.
Yeah.
It's been the most beloved like IP central thing that I can remember in a very, very long time.
It's fantastic. It's incredibly well written. The acting across the board is incredibly strong. This season in particular, I found a lot to love with just the detail of how this world is rendered, a world that we know, this iconography, these places, these sets, these costumes that are familiar to us because of the 50-year history of this property of Star Wars. And the way they do it in this show feels, I guess, fresh, but that's not necessarily accurate because we're really seeing stuff we've seen stormtroopers,
Right.
we've seen Imperial officers, but the way it's done here, it just feels incredibly tactile, tangible. Like you can actually step into these rooms and feel these spaces and feel the people inhabiting these spaces. I know that like that's a weird praise to throw at a show, but Disney Plus in particular has been very, very bad when it comes to having their
Filming things in
Yeah.
places.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
The bare
facts,
minimum.
Yeah.
exactly. So it's you feel like that should be a given, but when you watch these sets, these real life locations rendered to the extent where they are, at the caliber at which they are, and you know that they're not just standing in front of the volume, that they actually built these sets or went to these real life locations, it feels phenomenal. And you're just like, I mean, as a Star Wars fan, you're just like flying high because you are seeing events that are incredibly important to the story of Star Wars. This is not just like an offshoot thing. This entire story, just like Rogue One did, the movie that kind of gave birth to this story, it's all leading to the destruction of the Death Star in the original Star Wars movie. So what we have here in Andor season 1, in Andor season 2, which is specifically what I'm drafting here, and then in Rogue One, the film from 2016, this sort of like perfect trilogy almost. It's weird to call it a trilogy because Andor as a whole is like 24 hours long when you take both 12 episode seasons, that elevates the story of the original Star Wars movie in an incredible way. And it adds this like really tragic human story to, I'm Luke Skywalker and I'm going to blow up the Death Star. You know, there's this gravitas, this drama, this hefty like sacrifice that you feel from all of these characters. And I mean, I did a whole podcast on this with Adam and Adam and Vihan, so listen to that. But man, I mean, these characters, these actors, Stellan Skarsgård, Genevieve O'Reilly, Diego Luna, Adria Arjona, like people are just putting in top-notch work here. And it's interesting because I feel like we've been conditioned, especially with, you know, Disney Marvel stuff, to feel like everything needs to wink and like be snarky. And this show never does that. And it always feels like it has to be serious and important. And you're never rolling your eyes at it. You're always taking it, you're always meeting it where it's at. And it meets the moment. I mean, that's my biggest thing with it, is that living in Trump's second term right now is kind of like a living nightmare. And this show, I know was made before the election, but to come out during Trump's second term is like, it's insane, because we're seeing characters in this show be like immigrants who are persecuted. We see characters in the show who are organizing against a tyrannical government on multiple fronts, not just militarily, not just with espionage and spycraft, but politically, and making moves on a public stage and standing up to the emperor in a way that's like a part of the political government process. So my favorite part of this show is or one of my favorite parts of the season is a speech that is given on a Senate floor, and a daring escape that speech giver has to give because of the consequences of the speech. To say that in a Star Wars show is crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's not a lightsaber battle. It is a senator giving a speech condemning genocidal actions and then having to escape because of the consequences of delivering that speech. Like that is phenomenal. That is phenomenal that they did this, that Disney let them do this, and that they nailed it and knocked it out of the park. Like, hats off. Great job to everybody.
I think that that is kind of the big thing that I just can't believe that they got away with this. From everything that I have heard about it, I'm in the process of watching Andor season 1. I also, not in the same complete way as Drew, because I know Drew's been out since like, I don't know, 1987 for Star Wars. But I've been kind of clocked out for a bit. Sorry, the Skeleton Crew. But that, to that point, like Skeleton Crew or Ahsoka are like, that's the content that you're getting. And there's this little like diamond in the rough of slop that is Andor that's coming out is really cool. Have you gone back and revisited the Gareth Edwards
Rogue One? Not yet, no. But I'm sure it's
well, that's why I didn't know. Like
better.
Gareth Edwards is like a complicated director. Oftentimes a movie who's like, I think his films like look better than
Jurassic
the content
Rebirth
that's
coming
inside
soon.
of them. Yeah. But like we'll see. Like I don't really know about him as a filmmaker, but I really want to see Andor.
Tony Gilroy continuously
Gilroy.
does not
That's the thing.
like to talk about how much influence he had on that movie. I
He-
think
that's-
there are layers
think
of NDAs.
That's kind of what I was beating around the bush out of. Like, are we sure that wasn't a Tony Gilroy movie?
I think
Based
I
on
think he
based on the
completely
fact that
remade it.
Andor exists, are
Yeah.
we sure that like Tony Gilroy wasn't like fully at the helm?
By the way, did you mean to put the Nightcrawler poster and the Andor poster right next to each other?
oh my god.
Wow.
Made by two
I
brothers.
think Lee did
Look
that.
at that.
Dan
That's
and Tony,
awesome.
the Gilroys.
Hey, brother Dan is on the writing staff for Andor.
Wow.
He
Shout
gets
out, brother Dan.
He needed a job after Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Jesus Christ. I forgot about Velvet Buzzsaw. Velvet Buzzsaw might as well have just not even existed.
Hey,
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler though. Nightcrawler might be on my everyone's doing the 10 lists of
the New York Times.
Yeah, since 2000.
Yeah.
It might be on my 10.
It's on my long list. Perfect.
awesome movie.
Love that movie.
Anyway,
Watch Andor. My next pick,
oh boy.
I feel
I'm
like-
gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna take 28 years later.
Okay.
What?
Alex Garland.
Did you think he was going to take Jizz in the Liz Wiz?
No.
Alex Garland made a controversial movie
Oh my god.
with a lot of ideas on its mind
Okay, Jesus.
that may or may not connect 100%. Whoa.
Yeah, except in the movie, this movie has zombies, but in warfare, we're all the fucking zombies.
Yeah, here's the thing.
because we don't
Ernest-
get it.
Well, here's the thing. Ernest is like anti-Iraq war veterans, so he was never going to take. Like he's really pro the war, but he's anti the veterans who actually were in the war. Is that right? You want to speak on that?
Danny Boyle directed this one, not Mr. Garland. Mr. Garland wrote this film. The duo is reuniting after 28 years later.
I don't
or
think-
20
Is it
days
so?
later.
Is this your second favorite movie of the year? Second.
No,
or third?
I think
Well,
it's
no, I
Sinners,
take it, yeah.
Friendship, and then this.
Okay.
I'm surprised this is high on your list. I thought this was slop.
I mean, to a lot of people, it is.
I think
think
it is kind of.
I think it's a very
I loved
divisive
it.
film.
It's really good. I liked it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think-
was a big fan of 28 Days and 28 Weeks. And because 28 Weeks, much like Lord of War, was one of those movies that was always on pay-per-view.
right.
So I always watched it, like as a kid.
Jeremy Renner.
Much like
28
Lord
Weeks.
of War.
A nonsense movie.
Yeah, awful.
It's really
In hindsight,
bad.
awful. But
It's
like,
really not very.
I
good.
watched this because, like, I want to engage in the lore.
Yeah.
And I'm finally watching it, and I don't know, I liked it. It was like a whole story. Like, there was an actual story.
I found a lot to love in this movie. I think the ending, the last like maybe 20 minutes of this movie are kind of rough, but the more I think about it and what he's trying to do with like taking this turn into like a really sentimental place, like a really emotional, empathetic place for this dark world, I think is a really cool idea. And I wish that he had given it a little bit more space to breathe. I think it's just a little bit too rushed, but the boldness of it, the swing of it is just something that
Ernest loves a swing more than anyone I know.
Yeah, I know.
You
Well,
love it. You love a swing.
It's not just that. It's also that when someone fires an arrow at a zombie and it hits them in the throat, the camera like cuts in between
Well,
12
The
different
camera work was
angles.
insane.
That's
in
the
this
thing.
movie too.
And I am glad.
And every time that happened, I was like, Oh my fucking god.
Well, and again, going back to
It's
like
so
the
cool.
point of it goes back to the original 28 Days Later, which was shot on like a fucking home camcorder. And now it looks like a potato of a movie. It looks like
And
it's
that's why
almost
it's good.
Honestly,
unwatchable.
yeah, it's charming.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's almost unwatchable, and that's
there
why
are
it's
parts
good.
where you're like, oh my god,
Like-
am I buffering?
No,
right now?
especially like towards the end when a lot of action's happening, it's dimly lit. I'm like watching this on a fucking OLED TV, and I'm like, I can't tell what's happening right now. Like this is nonsense. I'm like,
I paid so much
money for this fucking TV.
But the natural evolution of that is we're going to shoot in a movie on an iPhone. But this isn't like the Soderbergh, I'm going to shoot a movie on an iPhone and you're going to feel the claustrophobic. We're like in this and we're limited on like the screen that we can show. 20 years later feels a lot more open. Like there's a lot more vistas, a lot more open landscape, but there's something that still feels oddly contained about the
Yeah.
story. And I think that a lot of that is just this
Part
super
one.
digital. Well, a lot of it's the super digital effect of the iPhone. A lot of it's also, and this would be a knock against this movie for me at least, this felt more like a TV show than a movie to me. This felt like
I've heard
It's
that.
truly
episodic, yeah.
3
Yeah.
episodes than it felt like one whole complete movie. And there was some parts that I really liked. Specifically, I love the little town that they are in, this
Yeah.
little village where we start out. The island is really cool. The whole construct of there is
causeway.
the causeway that opens and closes, which is apparently a real place in Scotland that you can go to, is sick. Like that is a really cool thing that they built and set up there. A lot of it's also super muddled. I will say what saves this movie, because I was really starting to kind of like lose it a little bit in the halfway part, is that there's this little guy named Ralph Fiennes who shows up. And Ralph Fiennes might give
The woke pope.
he might give the best supporting performance of the year. And
I giggled.
here's the thing. It's going to be really tough to
I
beat that.
teeed.
When we have to submit our ballots at the end of the year for the Critics Association, I don't know how he's going to miss the top 5 unless something crazy happens throughout the rest of the year, because he has such a heat check level performance that I have not seen in a movie in such a long time.
He changes the temperature, the pH balance of the entire
And here's
movie.
the thing, he delivers dialogue that in a lot of other Alex Garland movies in particular, I find really unbearable. Like a lot of times it's just like, we're going to state the themes of this movie right now, and now you're going to have to deal with them. But Ralph Fiennes is like, I don't know, one of the great actors of the last like 50 years. So it's just his character in there, like his whole performance, while being completely covered head to toe in iodine, is unbelievable. Like it's so fucking cool. The Bone Temple. I want to go to the Bone Temple now.
That's the next step. That's
Take me to the
next,
Bone. Which we
next
go to the Bone
movie.
Temple every time we record
Yeah.
a podcast. But
Ooh,
Hey
maybe.
now.
Yeah. Are we pro zombie cock?
Yo,
Pro Alpha.
that
There's also
that
another
dude was
that
notch.
fucking heat.
Here's the thing.
That
Notch
thing
in his
was-
belt. I love how much.
I'm holding a 1.25 liter bottle of Dr. Pepper. It was approximately like just swinging
That,
around
but
just like
flaccid.
this.
flap.
Yes.
flaccid.
Like, if you're the alpha, you got to tie that to your leg, man. Like, come
No,
on.
the whole point is to have it be swinging around, dude.
Dude.
Drew, I'm gonna pitch this movie. I'm gonna pitch it to you this way. What if zombies fucked? And what if like there was a lot of cock and balls? Honestly, like the
More
most
than you
the
think.
most cock and balls I've seen in a movie, and I can't even remember one.
You know, they said it was 100% prosthetics
Yeah.
for real.
Really? Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, they said it was all prosthetics because of like child labor laws.
Yeah, they couldn't look at it.
Yet again, getting in my fucking way.
God damn it! Oh, because we have to have a real kid be there acting with the cock and ball.
Yeah.
out.
How about a prosthetic kid in real cocks?
Well,
and
did you
balls,
hear?
huh?
Did you hear that the prosthetics were actually downsized to the real life cock and balls? They had to like shrink them in there. It's like when I
like
wear
the
a
kid.
adult medium.
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, he didn't.
I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
Colin, a friend of the pod, Colin was not as into the child. He had a lot more knocks against it.
I mean, he didn't have like there were a couple scenes that I thought were a little rough. But I think it's just a lot to ask.
I was more anti Jodie Comer, to be honest. And not her performance. I actually think that she was really good.
I
It's her
loved her.
character. I really kind of edge up against, where it's like
the sick girl that somehow
it's the
can kill a
delirious
zombie.
mother who's like has some kind of Alzheimer's dementia type thing. I'm just
Are
like
you telling me that Alex Garland doesn't have a great eye for the female
for
perspective?
women characters? Yeah,
I
no,
just don't
it's almost like
believe
this is
it.
a pattern that he has
I don't
no
know.
fucking idea. It's almost like he's never met a woman
Doesn't
in his
sound right
goddamn
to
life.
me.
No, honestly, it's bad. It's a really fucking bad problem that's gotten progressively worse somehow in all of his movies. That's my biggest problem with Civil War, is that movie centers around two women, and he doesn't know how to write them. So you know,
The little Tarantino-esque like Swedish Power Rangers thing at the end was awesome too. Like
it
I
was
love
funny. But then again, to the episodic nature, I'm like, next
out of
time
nowhere.
on 28 years later, the Bone Temple.
Yeah,
So
that's
do you know the whole thing with that guy? Apparently, like Jimmy Seville.
Yeah,
Jimmy's
Jimmy
the
Seville.
kid at the beginning of the.
Well, yes.
So it's
But this is based on a real guy, a real
Yes.
British guy.
Okay.
Possible spoilers for 28 years later,
He's-
colon the Bone
well,
Temple.
he's Swedish in the movie.
Yes. No. No. You're thinking of the
You're
guy
thinking
who
of
just
Viagra
shows up.
boys.
Oh yeah, okay.
The guy who shows up. No, at the end, that's just some other UK chaps who
Okay.
just appear on there. So this guy, Jimmy Seville, is like, imagine like the world's biggest like radio jockey. Like he
Okay.
basically has like the thing that everybody listens to for in the UK. So about a decade-ish ago
Well, he
or
died.
so. Well, he's dead now. Rest in shit.
He
As
died in
you'll soon learn.
2011.
He was like did like a long spree of sexual assault, specifically with minors. And because he was this massive celebrity, would like use his fame and connections with like charities at hospitals and shit like that to like prey on like sick kids. So that's who this guy is based off of. So don't feel so great for our lead chap going into the part 2 of this story because
Imagine,
things might not end up
it's,
so
it's
well
just
for
a
him.
crazy British thing. I mean, imagine if like there was a movie set in America and like a zombie outbreak hit and nobody found out that like Bill Cosby was doing what he was doing, and
Yeah.
like a bunch of guys showed up
Right.
at the end and they all look like Bill Cosby.
like doing Cosby impressions. Yeah, they're like, I'm Fat Albert.
But yeah, I love the movie.
That's my Fat Albert impression, by the way. Oh, hey, I'm
Hey,
Fat
hey,
Albert.
hey.
Hey, hi, I'm Fat Albert.
I think it's a flawed
Hiya.
movie, but I'm really in the bag for Alex Garland. Like I
yeah.
just feel like I'm so interested.
I was gonna draft it if you didn't. I'll be honest. I was.
I'm so interested in like just his overall project. I'm glad that Danny Boyle is back making movies. Like the last thing he made was Yesterday, which
6
was
years ago.
yeah. And I think that this is a hell of a fucking comeback for him. He's doing shit. He is putting images on screen here that I've never seen before. Like he is just giving us
That's good.
something new.
Well, he's obviously like not one to be like stuck in his ways. Like he's so all over the place, but also that comes with being like very inconsistent, to be honest.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good for him being back.
Do you guys remember when everybody just like forgot who the Beatles were?
Who?
There. Yeah.
You mean Gwendolyn Bartley?
Gwendolyn Bartley.
All right.
Kyle M actually wrote
That
Beatles
is-
songs.
The Kyle M album is basically like if a dumb guy was the only guy who remembered the Beatles and he couldn't quite remember them.
You know what's funny is I was gonna make a Beatles joke whenever we did our dishonorable mention, specifically talking about Joe, because I also like the music of Paul McCartney.
It's microwave fucking Beatles.
It's microwave. It's like Instapot fucking Paul McCartney in all the wrong ways.
All right, you're right.
Okay.
That is it for part 1 of the 2025 mid-year draft. Stick around for part 2 in a separate episode. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening. Bye.